Hmm. So in the last class, we have discussed about standalone environment, and as I told, it is mainly used for testing and
Yes.
yeah. So I just asked you, do you have any doubts from the last class?
Oh, no, I'm fine. Sorry,
Yeah, okay.
I didn't get what you said. There was no sound at all.
Okay, no problem. So, as discussed in the last class, we are going with input, parsing, indexing, and searching for standalone search head. So,
Okay.
standalone, I'll tell that it is search head. Search head is nothing but whatever we are doing our queries, searching, everything comes under search head.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is one of the component of our Splunk.
Okay.
And Splunk deployment standalone, as I told, for testing. And next, we are coming into basic things. So here the basic things involve forwarder management. Here, if you see, this is one of the block over here. And from in, we are having forwarder management and then parsing, indexing, and searching. Everything will be same. Just you need to remember one thing. Whatever the process we are following from input to searching, everything will be same in any type of environment.
Okay. So,
Type of
so whether it's single server, I mean standalone or clustered, we're always gonna have forwarder and search heads, right?
yeah, no, actually, you are going into different concept again.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So what I'm saying is like the steps which Splunk will be following is like
The
input,
subs. Okay.
parsing, indexing, and searching. You are talking lecture.
Sorry, because you're breaking up, so I can only hear every other word. You said the four are common in every deployment: searching, indexing.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so searching, indexing are searching, indexing, and parsing and input are like those are, you said, common in every deployment.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So you need to remember from bottom, not from top,
Okay.
because
Okay.
we are getting the input and then it will go into parsing, indexing, and searching. Okay.
Yes. Okay, got it.
So
Okay.
yeah, the basic is now including our forwarder management. You see, what is happening is like it is similar to standalone only. And here, if you see the forwarder management, forwarders involvement. So forwarders, when I say input is coming from forwarders.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I'll explain it here.
So between single server and basic, you said it's the extra with basic, we have forwarder?
Yeah. So now I'll tell about inputs. Font, I need to
Can you give me 1 minute? I need to turn on the light, okay?
yeah, definitely. So when I say about inputs, what I'll say, as I told, I'll write the monitoring path and I'll write the server class.configuration file. Whatever I'm writing in the server class.configuration file under whitelist, that is nothing but laptop 123. This is nothing but forwarder.
Okay, so it's the okay. Okay, I get
So
it.
there are many forwarders. I'll about laptop 123 because I'm just taking the from this laptop 123. But in my environment, what I'll do is like in my server class, I'll define with different server class names. Apple 1. I'll write another whitelist. Now you need to get some doubt, like here already I have defined whitelist for one of my apps. So again I'm defining whitelist.0 for another application. Laptop 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. And I'll write another server class as Apple 2 and I'll again define whitelist. So how many whitelists you are defining, it is no matter. It doesn't matter to Splunk, because whatever the whitelist.0, whitelist.0 you are defining for different applications, it will be taking as a new server class. One thing you need to remember while defining the server class is like you are defining Apple 1, and the next server class I have defined as Apple 2. It should be the different name. The server class name should be different. But whatever the whitelist.0 you are defining and the stanzas for inputs and props you are defining will be same.
I see. Okay.
Props, as discussed, will be differing from one application to another application. Props and inputs. Outputs can be same. And what I would like to tell here is like you are defining Apple 1, Apple 2. So when you are defining Apple 1, 3, 4, 5, you can also define whitelist.0 laptop 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter if you are having laptop 3, 4, 5 in one server class and I should not write the laptop 3, 4, 5 in another server class. You can write it, but the inputs and props again. When you are writing, you need to remember that inputs and props will be different for the specific server.
Okay.
So these are nothing but forwarders. I'll say that forwarder, universal forwarder. Forwarder is universal forwarder. There are different types of forwarders. Heavy forwarders, lightweight forwarders, universal forwarders, like that. So in Splunk, we are mostly having two forwarders. One is universal forwarder from which we are getting the data. And another one is nothing. I'll explain you about heavy forwarders going forward. But you need to remember, if I say the data is coming from one of the forwarder, you need to remember universal forwarder. As a shortcut, we generally call it as UF.
UF, okay.
Yeah. For every component in Splunk, we are having shortcuts. So going forward, I'll tell just, and for heavy forwarders, we'll tell about HF. Deployment server, we are talking about DS, like this. So people usually talk about HF, UF, and DS. So this is nothing but about forwarder management, where we are adding the servers in the server class, and the data from which we are getting into Splunk, it is nothing but universal forwarder. Universal forwarder is nothing. It is acting some. It is acting like a third-party server. It is not a Splunk server, and mostly for universal forwarders, we will not have any access.
Okay.
Because the third-party servers are nothing but client servers.
Okay.
So we will not have any access to those. Just we will guide them how to get that server connected to our Splunk.
Okay.
Yeah. And forwarders will collect data and send it to Splunk servers. It is nothing but data source. Data source is nothing but the inputs from where the data is coming into our Splunk. And here, if you see here, he's telling that usually production servers. Test servers are completed. Only the single server we are taking. And this is nothing but the production servers. A universal forwarder can also be a test server to get the data in lower environments, not in production.
It can be what? A global what? Global forwarders?
Universal forwarder can also be a test server.
Test server?
Yeah, test server means here for forwarders, we are having some concept is nothing but by seeing LOU. By seeing this, I'll tell this is production server. By seeing this, I'll tell this is production server, and by seeing this, I'll tell this is. Do you know how?
How?
The 8th character of the server will be, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
P
The
for production?
8th, yeah, correct, exactly. The 8th character server name will be P if that is production, and it will be T if that is test server.
That's how Splunk knows if it's production or test?
No, Splunk will never know anything. Splunk will never know anything until we write some configurations.
Okay, so to Splunk, it doesn't matter whether it's test, whether it's production, but for us, that's how we can. Okay, can you go back to the other one? Yes. Can you scroll up a little bit, please?
Yeah.
I'm missing something.
Okay.
So, okay, yeah. On there, Splunk. Okay, for collect data and send it to Splunk servers and so forth. Okay. Now on the other one, we're saying here, Splunk can be distributed and scaled in a variety of ways. More indexes to handle more input, more indexers. Okay, so we can in a distributed environment we can have more indexers, servers, and then manage forwarder configurations from a dedicated deployment server. Can you explain that second bullet? I'm not sure I understand what you mean. On the manage forwarder configurations.
So I should explain the first one also. See,
okay.
For the if I talk about first one, it will be covering the second one also. If you see the deployment server, forwarders is the search head. So he is now talking distributed environment. Distributed environment is nothing but where we are collecting the large amount of data into our Splunk.
Okay.
So when you are collecting large amount of data into Splunk, we should definitely need indexers.
Yes.
Indexers are nothing but search feeds. So when coming again back to this back notes, what I said, need to define server class.configuration for defining all the forwarders. So where does this class.configuration I'll write this in deployment server. In the deployment server, I'll create one server class and then I'll define this laptop 123. Something I'll be defining. So wherever the server class you are defining, I'll take it as deployment server because in the large environment, we should definitely have a separate deployment server to configure all the server classes.
Okay.
So what he said, we are getting the data from inputs. Inputs are nothing but universal forwarders.
Okay.
But one thing you need to remember, when the universal forwarder, when I write universal forwarder, from universal forwarder we are getting data, so that will be defined in deployment server. Okay. Is
I don't know, it's not very clear, but it's just keep going. Maybe it will be clear later.
Yeah, going forward, anyhow, I'll be clearing about all this. So we are server class in deployment server. Deployment server is nothing but it is also one of the Splunk server. We are having one dedicated deployment server to do all these configurations.
So the deployment server is like independent server that contains all the configuration files, like server class, universal forwarder configuration, all the stuff. The
It is not
configuration.
independent server because this server will be connecting to another servers as well.
No, I
You
mean
see?
like I'm independent. I mean like it could be on its own. Like it can it coexist with the indexer servers, one of the indexer servers, or does it have
Yeah,
to be its own?
can be its own. Now
Its
you'll
own.
understand. Now
Okay.
you'll understand because in the DS, what I have defined the universal forwarders.
Okay.
Okay, I have defined universal forwarders in deployment servers. Now, in my large environment, what I did, I have added some indexers.
In where?
Larger environment.
Okay.
For smaller environments, you no need indexes. We can the search heads.
So when you say indexers, we're talking about like servers, right? So we have one indexer server and maybe 3 indexer servers, maybe. Okay, so that's 3 servers.
What? Yeah. What will this indexer will do? Indexer will index the data.
Yes. Yes.
Will index the data. So here in the indexes, I can also write props.
Okay.
So to make easily the searching. So not write anything in my search head. What it will do is like I'll just write my queries on my search head. After writing the queries, definitely I'll include index is equal to in my query. Index is equal to something I'll be including in my query. So what is happening when I write index is equal to XYZ? It will take all the data from the indexers.
Okay.
Because indexes is having the data.
Right.
Indexes can index the data. Indexes can also mask the data if required.
What about forwarders? Are they, what does forwarders do again?
Forwarders are nothing but this one.
Oh, it's the host that we're monitoring. Okay.
Deployment server is nothing but wherever we are defining this.
Okay, yes.
So
Okay.
in the deployment server, we are writing the forwarders. Forwarders is sending data to indexes. And from indexes, we are getting the data on search heads.
Okay, let me ask you a question, please, so it's clear in my head.
Okay.
So if I want to buy, we want to deploy Splunk in our environment, production, okay? And we want to know how many servers are we gonna need and for what. So forwarders, we don't need servers for them, right? Because the servers are the host that we're monitoring, right?
Yeah, forwarders you no need. That will be a third party servers.
Okay, so the Splunk servers that we need are one for the indexer, so we could have one or multiple one if it's clustered, so we can have many or one indexers, and then we're gonna have another server where we need to put what do you call it,
Deployment server.
Deployment server. So for deployment server, we need another server.
You just tell me what is the data you want to ingest in Splunk.
What data? Say a lot of data for multiple multiple forwarders. Database logs, application logs, a lot of data. So we're gonna do a cluster environment. So we're gonna get a lot of indexer servers. Do we need how many deployment server do we need? One or two?
Okay. One deployment server will be enough.
Okay, one
And
deployment server. Mhm.
yeah, number of indexes will always depend on the number of data you are getting into Splunk. So 300 one indexer can handle 300 gigabytes of data per day.
Per day.
Yeah, you just make a note. One
Okay, so
indexer will handle 300 gigabytes of data per day. But
okay, hold on one second. One indexer can handle what? 300
300
gigabyte of data
per day.
per day. So when you say per day, is it because it gets purged? The data gets deleted?
Yeah, obviously. Per day it will be handling 300 gigabytes of data.
Okay.
So it will be resuming its memory at midnight 12 o'clock. So after night 12 o'clock, again it will be able to handle 300 gigabytes of data.
So if the data are more, like say for example, in our environment, we're gonna have to handle 400 gigabyte of data. The 100 extra will not be handled within that 24 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. What does it do with them? Does it just drop them? Ignore them? Or?
It will drop. It will not index the data.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And
Okay.
if it is 400 gigabytes, then you need to go for another indexer as well. So better what they'll do, you know, for 300, I told like 300 GB of data will be handled. But basically in the production, what they'll do is like they'll take one indexer for only of data per day.
For how many?
One indexer as 100 GB, because they'll keep 200 GB empty for an indexer. It is same like our phone memory. If you are having 64 GB of memory, if you are using all 64 GB, then our phone will be slow and performance will be degraded.
So just to be safe, even though the indexer can handle maximum 300 gigabytes of data, but usually we size it where it's only 100 gigabytes.
Yeah, perfect, correct.
Okay, but this is like wasting a lot of space. 200 gigabyte is not